A few years back, I read an article that said Hitler won the Second World War. You say, no, he didn't. They lost. But the opinion, or the argument that the author was making was Hitler had won because he had made us more like him. We had become militaristic. We had gone over to our darker angels. And in some ways, there may be an argument for that. I did not agree completely, but I thought it was a good cautionary tale, if nothing else. When someone hurts us, do we become hurtful? When someone gossips about us, do we gossip about them? In other words, do they take us down to their level? Because if they do, then they win. We don't win. Actually, I would say nobody wins. Because God made us for great things. And so, St. Paul, when he's speaking to the Corinthians, he says that he has run the race so as to win. So if we are running the race and someone does something to us and we stop running the race so we can fight that person, they've won because we're not running the race. So St. Paul says, when I preach, I offer the gospel free of charge, so as to not make full use of my right in the gospel. We do the opposite. We try to answer God's call completely. We cannot control what the other person does. We can control what we do. That's why Jesus says, for crying out loud, take the beam out of your own eye first. And I got to tell you, it's not always easy. We came from a large family. We used to have these big fights and fights that would last for weeks sometimes. Well, they started it or they did this. And you say, well, that's very immature. That's like children. But for some reason, even when we get older, we tend to do the same thing. We just have adult defenses or justifications for it. And God tells us to just let it go. Let it go. Turn back to me and be healed. That's what Jesus tells us. And so today on the feast of 9/11, if you'd say feast, as we remember 9/11, we have terrorists blowing up buildings. We have first responders who went into those buildings to save people. The complete opposite. We had people who disregarded human life. And we had people who went after the fact to search even for dead bodies so that there could be some closure, so that other people might be comforted. God calls us to win this fight by remaining who we are, by becoming perfect in mercy and love and compassion. That's how we run the race. That's how we win the fight.